Have you ever sat down to watch a football match and just felt completely, totally overwhelmed? I mean, you've got 22 people sprinting around a massive pitch. Someone suddenly trips over, a whistle blows out of nowhere, and the entire stadium absolutely explodes in either pure joy or absolute rage. And you're just sitting there thinking, wait, what on earth just happened? Look, if that sounds familiar, you're in exactly the right place. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely clear up that organized chaos. 3 billion. Just think about that number for a second. That is almost half the entire planet glued to a screen during the World Cup, literally losing their minds over a ball and 2 nets. And with the massive 2026 tournament fast approaching, you probably want to know what the whole shebang is about, right? Well, I'm going to turn your confusion into total mastery. We aren't going to slog through some dense, boring rulebook. Instead, we're looking at just 5 simple rules that completely unlock the game. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover exactly 5 things: the objective, how time works, fouls and cards, offside, and finally, we'll tackle VAR, which trips up even the most veteran fans. Okay, let's dive into Rule 1, the objective, or simply getting the ball into the net. The overall goal is pretty obvious, right? Get the ball into the opponent's net. But there's a really strict, non-negotiable binary rule on exactly how you're allowed to do that. For almost everyone on the pitch, you can use your feet, your legs, your chest, even your head, but absolutely no hands or arms. None. The one massive exception? The goalkeeper. The person standing between the goalposts is legally allowed to use their hands, but there's a pretty huge catch. That hand privilege, it only exists inside the penalty box. That's the large rectangle drawn on the grass right in front of the goal. The literal second a goalkeeper steps outside that box, boom, they lose those hand privileges and become exactly like any other player out there. It builds an enormous amount of tension. Goalkeepers are the absolute last line of defense, right? So if they misjudge a play and wander out too far, the other team can score directly. The pressure is just immense. Moving right along, Rule 2, how time works, featuring the continuous clock. Now, what's really interesting here is how the clock works, because it honestly confuses people more than almost anything else. A match is 90 minutes long, split into 2 45-minute halves with a 15-minute halftime break. But here's the big twist that makes it totally different from basketball or American football. The clock never, ever stops. Player gets injured, clock keeps ticking. Ball gets booted way up into the 20th row of the stands, clock keeps ticking. It is completely stubbornly continuous.
So what does this all mean? How on earth do they account for all that wasted time if the clock just continuously ticks forward? It wouldn't be fair to just lose those minutes entirely, would it?
Well, the answer is stoppage time. At the very end of each 45-minute half, an official on the sidelines figures out all those delays and literally tacks extra minutes onto the end. So the clock actually counts up past 45 or past 90. If you see 90 plus 7 on your TV screen, you are actually in the 97th minute of the game. And let me tell you, this system creates some of the most heart-stopping, game-changing goals in the dying seconds of a match. It's pure chaos. Let's move to Rule 3, fouls, cards, and free kicks. This is really where the drama lives. When someone does something illegal, like a reckless tackle, the ref blows the whistle and stops play for a free kick. But if it's bad enough, the consequences are severe. A yellow card is a harsh warning. Get 2 of those in one game, and it instantly upgrades to a red card. A red card means you are ejected immediately and your team is absolutely brutalized. They literally have to play the rest of the match a man down, 10 against 11. It's a real game changer. Now, check out this number, 12. If a team commits a foul inside their own penalty box, the opposing team gets a penalty kick, and that kick is taken from exactly 12 yards away. Just one attacking player, 12 yards out, totally one-on-one with the goalkeeper. The psychological pressure on both players in that moment is astronomical. Entire World Cups have literally been won and lost from exactly 12 yards away. All right, brace yourselves for Rule 4, offside, the single most controversial rule. Seriously, take a deep breath, because this causes more screaming arguments in pubs and living rooms than anything else. But it's actually pretty simple. So the crucial point is this: an attacker cannot be further forward than the last defender's torso, legs, or head at the exact millisecond the ball is kicked to them. You can't just lazily camp out next to the opponent's goalie waiting for a cheap, easy pass. You have to perfectly, strategically time your run forward.
And nowadays, the application of this rule is absolutely ruthless. Because of high-tech tracking cameras, we're talking about margins of literally 2 centimeters. I'm not kidding, we've seen gorgeous, crucial World Cup goals completely wiped out just because a striker's armpit was a tiny fraction of an inch ahead of a defender's knee. 2 centimeters. It sounds incredibly harsh, but hey, that's the exact letter of the law.
Finally, we arrive at the boss level. Rule 5. VAR, the Video Assistant Referee. This is the technological system that can instantly flip the emotional energy of an entire stadium. But there's a huge misconception that VAR can step in for any little thing. It absolutely cannot. And this brilliantly illustrates how it's strictly limited to just 4 major situations: goals, penalty decisions, direct red cards, and cases of mistaken identity. That's it. It's not there to review every tiny push or trip on the pitch, only the major game-altering stuff. If a major error is spotted by the officials in the video room, they alert the referee on the pitch, who will then literally draw a TV screen shape in the air with their fingers to signal a review. And man, what follows is a chaotic, emotional roller coaster. The crowd just stares at the giant stadium screens, and you get these agonizing minutes of pure, tense silence. Then, the decision is confirmed or reversed, and the stadium either erupts in joy or just groans in complete devastation. Okay, let's rapid-fire recap so you're totally ready for the big stage. Rule 1, get it in the net, no hands unless you're the goalie in the box. Rule 2, continuous clock plus stoppage time at the end of each half. Rule 3, fouls lead to free kicks, cards, and massive penalty drama. Rule 4, offside means attackers must stay perfectly level with or behind the last defender until the ball is played. And Rule 5, VAR is strictly for 4 specific high-stakes situations. Boom, you're now officially ready for any of the 104 matches at the 2026 World Cup. But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a fascinating question to ponder. What did the offside rule look like before we had all this incredibly precise VAR technology? Just imagine referees having to make those split-second, 2-centimeter decisions entirely with the naked eye. It really makes you wonder just how many famous, historic World Cup goals from the past would have been completely wiped out by today's strict rules, doesn't it? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and enjoy the games.